For the Mavericks, the former 76er, Roger Bell, who probably will be seeing quite a bit of Allen Iverson up front with Dirk Nowitzki, and the former Sixer, Sean Bradley, Michael Finley, and Steve Nash in the backcourt. 76ers with Aaron McKee, Keith Van Horn, Todd MacCulloch, who made his return in the game in Detroit last night after missing 4 games because of the nerve injury. We'll get into that a bit later on. And Allen Iverson, Eric Snow in the backcourt. Let's check it with Craig Sager. Craig?
Well, Marv, the Dallas Mavs do have the best record in the league, but they did not place a starter on the All-Star team. A last-ditch international campaign fell just short. This poster was emailed to over 400 media outlets in Dirk Nowitzki's home country of Germany, urging people to vote online. However, he finished 7,000 votes short of Kevin Garnett for a starting position. A similar campaign for Steve Nash in his home country of Canada. They used the NHL Blue Book, sent this to every media outlet in Canada. However, Steve Nash also finished 3rd among the guards. The attention now turns to the coaches. This campaign poster will be sent to every coach in the league, will be on their desks tomorrow, inviting them to vote for Nowitzki, Nash, and Finley as reserves. Those 3 running mates on the court tonight, and on the ballot box tomorrow. Mark?
I don't know, attempts to stuff the ballot box. Something wrong about that.
The international, courting the international vote has never been more important.
The officials are Jack Neese, Jim Capers, and Mark Davis. Dallas Mavericks last play this past Tuesday at home. Beat the Houston Rockets. That stopped a 3-game losing streak. All 3 of those losses on the road at Sacramento, at Phoenix, and at Seattle. Dirk Nowitzki did not shoot well on the road trip. Averaged only 16 points and shot 33%. Van Horn opens up against Nowitzki. Here is Finley. And back comes Snow.
Well, you mentioned MacCulloch in the lineup tonight. This is a game where Larry Brown can play Todd MacCulloch because of his matchup against Bradley. They've had real problems getting him into good matchup situations, and Larry Brown feeling comfortable with it. Plus, the foot problem is a big concern.
Yes, Todd MacCulloch has been suffering from a neurological condition which affects his arms and his legs, causing aching muscle pain. He played 16 minutes last night, all in the first half against the Pistons. Did not play at all in the second half. Shot clock is down to 7 and deflected out by the Mavericks.
Aaron McKee had a huge game last night in that win over Detroit. Hit a couple big 3-pointers at critical times for the 76ers.
Allen Iverson last night, 8 for 25, but he missed his first 7 shots of the second half. Here's Van Horn for 3. Iverson was 4 for 17 through 3 quarters, but then hit some big buckets down the stretch. Steve Nash being played by Eric Snow. Finley guarded by McKee. Bradley looks to set the pick with shot clock to 6. Here's Bradley. Good look from Finley.
And defensively, that's what's given Philly a lot of problems in that losing streak, is their pick-and-roll defense. And MacCulloch, even though he brings a lot to the offensive end, he really struggles with pick-and-roll defense.
76ers last night shot 50% from the field. Larry Brown telling us he was very pleased with their shot selection. That's a force by McKee, but MacCulloch is able to handle it.
What Philadelphia ran was what you would call a 1-3 pick and roll. 1-man and the 3-man, or 2-3, whatever you want to call it. All they wanted to do was get Dirk Nowitzki involved in it defensively, try to get a switch, and hope that guy went by him.
And Nowitzki able to hit on his first attempt.
And again, the pick and roll left Nowitzki wide open. It's very, very difficult to play the Nash Nowitzki pick and roll because on a switch, Nowitzki would roll in the post and score over smaller players.
A live TNT NBA Thursday Spanish language feed now available via SAP. Here's a 4-on-2 for the Mavericks. Nowitzki from Nash. So the Mavs with a 6-2 lead.
And in essence, Philly got what it wanted. Aaron McKee blew past Dirk Nowitzki off the dribble. That's what they were trying to get. Just couldn't finish at the end.
76ers bouncing back last night when they went at Detroit. They had lost 16 of the previous 22. That will count, and the foul on Roger Bell.
All right, here we go.
deep in the left-hand corner. Iverson squares up, wants to see if he's got that jumper going that was there right at the end of the game last night. And if there is contact, it's very slight contact from that angle.
Roger Bell spent 2 years with the 76ers, saw considerable action when the Sixers went to the finals against the LA Lakers and played well, primarily as a defensive specialist. Here's Nash. Nowitzki for three. Yes.
That's the problem when you do not control Nash on the outside. When he starts running around in the perimeter with the basketball, gets people sucked into the lane area, he turns right around and fires it back out. Those people spotting up behind the three-point line generally have wide open shots.
Iverson. Once again, the Mavericks on the run. Nash taking all the way. It counts. And the foul. Beautiful change-of-pace dribble by Steve Nash.
And again, that's the problem with long jump shots. They lead to transition opportunities. Here, Nash pushes it, splits Snow and McKee, left-hand layup. He is very, very effective in transition. You've got to get shots inside against Dallas to limit how long the rebound comes out. And the opportunity to push it.
You can see how hard he goes from end to end. That's one of the reasons, as Don Nelson mentioned this morning, as Philadelphia's taking a timeout, that he's trying to reduce the minutes on Steve Nash down to about 32 minutes a game so that he has something left going to playoff time.
So Dallas has opened up, hitting 5 of their first 6. It's the Mavericks 12, the Sixers 4, and Dirk is on fire.
The first time I saw Dirk Nowitzki, I said, wow. Germany, we went over there and we played, and I got like 6 or 7 All-Stars on my team. And Dirk Nowitzki puts a smooth 45 on us. And I remember finding him after the game and said, I don't know anything about you, I don't know who you are. But I said, if you want to go to my college, I'll pay your way. And I was 100% serious. And the next thing I know, when they have the draft the next year, the Mavericks take him.
Charles trying to guide Dirk to Auburn. Actually, Dirk Nowitzki selected by the Bucks in the first round in 1998, the 9th pick overall. Then his draft rights traded by Milwaukee with the draft rights to Pat Garrity to Dallas with the draft rights to Robert Tractor Trailer. You can follow all that.
Can you say one-sided?
Yes.
And you mentioned, Marv, the quick start that Nowitzki has here tonight. Last game when these two teams met and Dallas won 102-83, he had 29 against the 76ers that night.
McKee not able to hit. I recall, though, Dirk's rookie year, remember how lost he looked that first season?
And that's why you can't give up on young size too early, because they're going through so many adjustments, especially the foreign players, cultural, new league. You can't give up on young bigs or young players at all too early.
Here's Eric Snow for the Mavericks with a 14-6 lead.
Well, he probably would be very upset when he hears that you said that about him. He looked lost. I mean, that's taking a shot at the guy. He doesn't have a chance to defend himself. He may not have been lost.
Are you saying that we should not be objective? Iverson has it knocked away by Nash. You want us to lie and say, well, the guy was great from the start? Is that your idea?
No, you can say he was lost. You can say he was lost.
I can see in the one game that I took off that the tension has mounted on announcer row.
Worse than ever, Jeff.
And I want to get back to what Barkley said. They've been accused of doing the thing that Barkley was talking about, paying people to go to that school for a long time.
Charles blatant with it.
Yeah.
MacCulloch. Nice sweeping shot off glass.
And Jeff, they just came down the 76ers, and during the timeout, we were talking about the fact that Van Horn in the post can be very effective. He was down there. They fronted him. The lob pass a little too long last night.
Yes, he has Finley on him. They've got to go to that matchup. If they want to have him be more aggressive offensively, they got to give him the ball in the post.
Mavs up by 6. 4.5 gone by. Good ball movement. Finley. Bradley. Like Van Horn got a piece of it. Mavericks able to get back. Van Horn. And lost it. Here comes Bell. Finley setting it up against Van Horn. Now Nowitzki with the mismatch. Nash.
Actually, a pretty good job that time by Philadelphia. They kind of got away with it. They got a switch they didn't want. Dallas had it in their favor, but Philly did a good job of rotating and getting back to their people.
Nash goes down off the fake by Iverson, but he is not able to convert. The Dallas Mavericks began the season with a record of 14-0. Nowitzki on the follow. That was a franchise record. They fell one shy of equaling the best start in the history of the NBA. They lost at Indiana on Thanksgiving night. And they have won 19 of 21 at home. They're 13-6 on the road, although they have lost their last 3 away from home. Van Horn, fielded by MacCulloch, rejected by Bradley. And Nash resets. And bothered by McKee. Here's Nash wheeling inside. What a move by Steve Nash.
He's just like a whirling dervish out there, all over the floor, gets in the lane, fakes like he's going out one side, come back and hooks it back up with his left hand again.
Mavericks up 18-8. Finley doing a good job on Iverson. And last touch by the Mavericks.
Nash tries to create open shots for his teammates, tries to get the big people to come to him. You see him right there, check out the corner to see if the corner is open for a pass out. Instead, he saw the opening for himself, took his left hand and laid it up.
4 on the shot clock. Iverson not able to get it off. He hesitated for a moment with Sean Bradley in his path, and it's a 24-second violation.
You're exactly right. Sean Bradley has had a huge impact so far on shutting down the lane for the Sixers. And the Sixers are not a great perimeter shooting team. So they're going to have to find ways to get baskets near the basket. The one way to do that is force turnovers and get out in transition.
Jeff, would you say this is a very typical way that teams who have played the night before go up against a team who's been off the night before? When we see the dish-off pass, Van Horn is fouled. That sometimes the team, 76ers playing at Detroit last night, traveling back, take a quarter or so to get themselves going in the game.
And it's one of the reasons, because they take that quarter off, that they don't have a better winning percentage on the second end of back-to-back nights.
Keith Van Horn in foul trouble last night. Larry Brown still would like to see Van Horn become more aggressive at the offensive end. Keith Van Horn heard that last season in New Jersey. Keith acquired with Todd MacCulloch from the Nets in the deal for Dikembe Mutombo. Mavericks with an 18-10 lead, 4.5 remaining in this opening quarter. Good play by Van Horn. And Van Horn thought it was last touched by Nowitzki. Shot clock to 5. Nash. Iverson putting between his legs and then was run into by his teammate, MacCulloch. Finley is fouled. Hacked by Snow. Some confusion between Todd MacCulloch and Allen Iverson. Todd could not get it out of Iverson's way.
And Todd running up Iverson's back never anticipated that Allen was going to go through his legs a couple times, and as he goes through the legs front to back, he winds up dribbling the ball off of MacCulloch's foot.
So Michael Finley at the line. Finley in his 8th year out of Wisconsin, having another solid season. 2-time All-Star. Dallas Mavericks at 32-8, playing the first of a two-game road trip. They're in a stretch, playing 6 of 7 on the road.
So is there a reason why their record is as good as it is? You have an all-star in Nash, an all-star in Finley, and an all-star in Nowitzki.
Nice play. MacCulloch, good passer, getting it inside.
They were fronting Finley in the post. MacCulloch flashed up high. They went high-low on the lob, using Van Horn's great hands and jumping ability. Excellent pass by MacCulloch.
Nash for 3. You know, Czar, looking at this team warm up, Jeff and I were talking about it before. You look at the second unit, and I think the Dallas second unit could compete for a playoff spot in either conference. Is there such a thing as having too many good players? Can it hurt down the stretch?
The answer is yes, as Iverson misses the steal, which lets Nash get going full speed down the floor, and in transition misses that jumper. The answer is yes, but if you're a coach, you'd rather have more good players than less good players, and you deal with the problems that creates, and those problems tend not to be as great when you're winning as many games as Dallas is. The players seem to understand a little bit.
And Todd MacCulloch cuts it to a 9-point Dallas lead. Certainly there's always the possibility of injuries, and guys will get opportunities. There's several quality players who are currently on the injured list for Dallas, including Eduardo Nahara, who is a key player for the Mavericks. Nowitzki again. So he has 11 points. He has hit 5 of 6 from the field.
And Nahara they're expecting him back right after the All-Star break. So Don Nelson very happy about that, because he is very key to them and their multiple defenses that they play. You know, they've already played 1-1-3, 1-3-1, 2-3 zone, a little bit of combination this season.
Nowitzki for 3. MacCulloch lost it.
Well, let me give you another point that you just made, and another example of that. How about when Sacramento loses Webber and they still win all those games without Chris Webber playing? Another example of total depth. I mean, no matter who you put in there for them, they're pretty darn good players. So many of them off the bench, good starts for so many teams.
Iverson to the fadeaway against Bradley, and Allen Iverson off to a difficult start. 1 for 5. Minute and a half to go in this first quarter. Nash able to penetrate. Bradley able to pop it back outside. Blocked down to 7. Nowitzki working hard, draws the foul. Foul committed by MacCulloch. And a timeout called by the Mavericks.
Dirk Nowitzki right now in 11 minutes, 5 for 7 from the floor, on his way to 11 points. Felt early on he had the jumper going. Steve Nash makes sure that he keeps finding them with the basketball.
Carter, he's only played 10 games because of a right knee strain. Well, Carter might return Sunday. It all depends on his meeting with team doctors tomorrow. So if Vince is cleared to play, perhaps we will see him in the starting lineup on February 9th. Let's go back to Philadelphia, where we have shared this privileged information with Marv.
Thank you, Ernie, although we revealed it to Jeff and the Czar. A look at the Eastern Conference starting lineup. Tracy McGrady, Allen Iverson, as Ernie mentioned, Vince Carter, along with Detroit's Ben Wallace and Jermaine O'Neal. And in the West, Steve Francis and Kobe Bryant at the guards, Kevin Garnett, Yao Ming beating out Shaquille O'Neal in the voting, and Tim Duncan. Remember, TNT is your exclusive home for the NBA All-Star Game in Atlanta on Sunday, February the 9th.
Let's go back a second ago to what you said about Dallas's bench. Think about this. If you just keep this team that started tonight as their starters, this is who they have coming off the bench. Adrian Griffin, former starter in Boston. Eduardo Nahara, who started here for Dallas before the injury. Rafe LaFrentz, who starts when Don Nelson doesn't want to start. Bradley at the center spot. Walt Williams, who has started throughout his career. Nick Van Exel, who has started throughout his career. Avery Johnson, who has started throughout his career. And then their newest addition to the team, Antoine Rigado. What a team this is.
And when you have that much depth, the whole key is how unselfish is everybody? Are they committed to winning a championship, or are they going to complain about not getting their share of the pie?
Well, you have so many players of equal high-level skill as Finley is able to hit, and the Mavericks now lead at 29-16. And John Salmons, the rookie from Miami, has checked in, as has Rick Buckner. Both teams making changes. Adrian Griffin on the floor, as is Nick Van Exel. And you begin to get the problems when guys who are of equal skill feel they should be playing. Here's Aaron McKee with a nice head fake. And they're sitting on the bench.
And that's why it's so important that your best players, Nash, Nowitzki, and Finley, set the tone. If your best players are unselfish by nature, everyone else will follow along.
We saw Dallas come out of the timeout and go to a zone that time against Philadelphia. Philadelphia did a nice job of showing patience, recognizing it, swinging the basketball, little ball fake, and then a nice shot.
Final seconds of the quarter. Bradley able to get inside. Well, the Mavericks now lead 31-18. Here's Salmons. Can he get it off? No. He lost sight of the clock. And Larry Brown is upset.
Yeah, trying to make the youngster understand you must recognize the time and score all the time when you're on the floor. At least get the thing up there. Give it a chance to go in at the buzzer.
Dirk Nowitzki, 5 for 7 from the field. 13 points, 6 rebounds. And it's the Mavericks up 31-18. A look at downtown Philadelphia on a 15-degree night as we welcome you back indoors to the First Union Center. It's on to the second quarter. Dallas Mavericks opened up 6 for 7 from the field. They have a 31-18 lead against this injury-hit Philadelphia 76er team. There are several guys playing hurt. Derek Coleman is sitting it out, as he did last night with a sprained ligament in the fourth finger of his right hand. Kenny Satterfield has the flu, but he's dressed and available. Ryan Skinner with an ankle problem will be in action. And as Jeff counted up, 9 players are available to Larry Brown. Some pressure being shown by Dallas as the second quarter gets underway, and Salmons handles against Griffin. An offensive foul charged to Keith Van Horn. Illegal pick by Van Horn, so the ball back to Dallas. They now have Van Exel at the point. Van Exel and Finley in the backcourt. Up front, it's Griffin. Walt Williams has checked in for the first time, and Sean Bradley remains at the center position. Skinner knocked it away from Bradley. Allen Iverson sitting down. He was just 1 for 5 in the first quarter. Here's Skinner pulling his way on Bradley, just swatted to the side.
He tried to just basically run over the top of Sean Bradley, put his shoulder down, nowhere to go, and tried to run right through him.
And Van Horn made a bad play. He had Nick Van Exel on him. Clear everybody out, get yourself in the post, and go to the basket. You don't go at Sean Bradley.
A lob for Skinner. He stripped, and it's knocked out of bounds. Jack Neese says last touch by the Mavericks.
We saw the Philadelphia 76ers run 2 fast breaks in a row. The first one, Aaron McKee backed out at the end, never took the shot because he had terrible spacing. Larry Brown tried to remind the team about spacing. When you come down on a 4-man break, you have to have the wings filled, the ball in the middle, and a guy running the center of the floor. That break, at least they had some spacing there. You could see it developing.
Rafe LaFrentz has come on for Sean Bradley. Bradley played well. Rafe LaFrentz has been playing better recently. Struggled earlier in the year, had an ankle problem, was in foul difficulty. Buckner on the drive. And the official, Jim Capers, blowing the whistle over at the far side. Apparently some debris on the floor, so the ball boys come out to take care of matters. It's the Mavericks now with a 31-20 lead. We played 1 minute and 7 into this second quarter.
And both teams are playing small right now with 4 perimeter players and 1 big person each.
And as you can see, Allen Iverson is back. He's matching with Nick Van Exel. Here's Williams for 3. Wizard. Walt Williams in his 11th season out of Maryland, coming off the bench to knock down that three-pointer. Mavericks now lead by 14. Skinner lost it. Skinner with the rebound, challenging LaFrance. Brian Skinner out of control here in the second quarter. Offensive foul.
I'm not sure what Brian Skinner is trying to do other than play very hard and give him a lot of energy. It's just like he thinks the defensive man's going to go away when he lowers his shoulder. That's 2 times in a row. First time they didn't call the charge, and Sean Bradley kind of looked down on him as if like, where are you trying to go? This time he's called for the offensive foul.
Brian Skinner was doubtful today because of a sprained ankle. One other injury. Nice pass. The back door is put home by Finley. Kenny Thomas also out with a thigh problem. So Larry Brown is shorthanded up front, and he is about to send on Todd MacCulloch. Salmons. Rebounded by Skinner, and this time he is fouled from behind.
Skinner had come in and played some outstanding basketball when Philadelphia got off to that 15-4 start at the beginning of the season. This young man was a major contributor to them, giving them a lot of defensive rebounding and some strength and bulk on the inside while they're waiting for Derek Coleman to come back from the summer's knee surgery.
Brian Skinner out of Baylor in his 5th NBA season. He was a first-round pick of the Clippers in '98. Then it was out to Toronto, Chicago, Cleveland, and now Philadelphia. Coming up next here on TNT, it'll be Game 2 of our exclusive NBA coverage. The New Jersey Nets playing Game 3 of a 5-game road trip, take on the Golden State Warriors. How about the Warriors last night knocking off the Lakers? And tomorrow on ESPN2, it's a doubleheader. Wizards at the Bulls, Nets visiting the Lakers. Next Thursday back here on TNT, it'll be Dallas hosting Minnesota, and the Sonics and the Kings. All gets underway, 7 o'clock Eastern time. And we are hearing some boos from this Philadelphia crowd. The Sixers are down by 16. Rafe LaFrance coming up short. And last touch by the Mavericks.
You know what's very interesting about this Dallas team? They're first in points per game at 102 plus points per game. First in field goal attempts per game. They shoot 85 times a game. First in free throw percentage, which means they're a pretty darn good shooting basketball team. But they're also first in turnovers. They only commit 11.5 turnovers a game. That's because they have 2 guards in Van Exel and Nash that are all-star point guards who know how to protect the ball.
Off the steal, here comes Roger Bell. It has all gone wrong for the Sixers here in the second quarter.
Well, if you look at Philly right now, they don't have a lot of offensive weapons, and their defense over this losing stretch of time has been un-Philly-like, except for Detroit, where they only gave up 80-some points. The other times they're giving up far too many points in the game for the amount of offensive talent they have.
Foul on Finley, 7-0 run put together by the Mavericks. They have their biggest lead of the night. They are up by 18.
The Dallas Mavericks with a 38-20 lead. We mentioned the Mavs have the best record in the league. However, Don Nelson was the coach of the All-Star team last year. Rick Adelman from Sacramento will coach the West this year against Indiana's Isaiah Thomas from the East. Speaking of coaches, we have a couple of them with us tonight. The 1988 game in Chicago. Mike Fratello drawing up plays for Dominique Wilkins. But then, Michael Jordan had the hot hand. We'll call his number. Jordan got 40 points in that game. Jeff Van Gundy, the coach in 2000. Being introduced in that game was in Oakland. The MVPs of that game, Tim Duncan and Shaquille O'Neal, shared honors. And remember, TNT exclusive home for the All-Star game. Marv?
All right, Craig, incidentally, Jeff, did you know that the Czar has been drafted to coach in the Got Milk Challenge, handling the second-year players against the rookies?
Well, I'll tell you, I think his team is in trouble. I think the rookies have too much inside presence for the sophomores to handle. They got Yao, they got Stoudemire. They are just too tough inside for the sophomores.
So you're saying like my front line, Pau Gasol and Troy Murphy, Andre Kirilenko, Tyson Chandler, and Richard Jefferson, you're saying that they cannot match up against that team?
They have quickness and they have speed, but I think Cotton Fitzsimmons is going to go with power basketball, drive it in the paint to Yao, Stoudemire, Nene, Hilario, and Carlos Boozer. And I think you're coming out of there with an L.
Are we an early underdog? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not into betting. Don't ask me that.
Okay.
But you know that the Czar is going to come in with 20 pages of plays that the players would just love to see. Van Exel with the air ball. Williams coming up short. And here comes Salmons. Nice break, finished by Buckner, and the Mavericks now lead 38-24.
That's when Philly's at their best. Good defense leads to good offense, easy baskets. That's how they're going to get back in the game.
You know, you mentioned un-Philly-like defense a while ago, Jeff. Last year, the 76ers 5th in opponents' field goal percentage. This year, they're 24th in the league. That's how much they've dropped off in their defensive field goal percentage.
I wonder if that has to do strictly with Mutombo being traded, or if everybody on their team has just dropped off a little bit.
This is a Sixer team that started the season at 15-4. Pushing foul is called on Van Exel. Then they went through a stretch. They lost 15 of 19. Larry Brown said we really were not that good during that 15-4 run. He said we played a very favorable schedule, and then they lose 6 in a row. They snapped that streak by beating the Nets. And in that 6-game losing streak, 4 of the 6 were at home. It was a tough schedule, including Indiana and Detroit. Sixers lost both of those games in overtime. When they went 15-4, at one point they won 8 in a row, but it's gone the other way in recent weeks. Buckner lost it, and last touch by the Mavs.
You know, I detected that when we spoke to Larry Brown, he was a little annoyed with your comments on Monday because his mom got mad at him about the suit that he wore. So notice he's gone now away from the pinstripes into the solid blue suit, blue shirt tonight. So that mom hopefully will be not upset with him. Who caused those problems? Just let me know that.
It's a 24-second violation. Jeff, you notice how he just turns things? You were there for the conversation. And on Monday night, I happened to say that I thought Larry's suit was very nice. It bothered the Czar because...
It's like Jeff saying, oh, this is one of the great officials that we have in our game today. One guy compliments suits, the other guy compliments officials. You're trying to get another deal.
Hold on.
Jeff's waiting for his next.
Larry Brown's always impeccably dressed, but when I was watching the second game of the TNT tripleheader the other night with the referees in the hotel after the first game, I was watching the game with them. They were praising me for my objectivity as it comes to the officials, and they think I know the top officials in the game.
And all 3 of them happened to be there that night, right?
I complimented all 3 during the game.
And Salmons is foul. It's very nice of Jeff to rejoin us after leaving us last Monday.
And we were not the same without him.
Yeah. Working the Memphis-Portland game is the first of a tripleheader. This is John Salmons, rookie from Miami, originally a first-round pick of the San Antonio Spurs, and this is a guy who was thrilled when his rights were acquired by the Sixers. He grew up in the Mount Airy section of Philadelphia, played basketball in the Sunny Hill League, grew up rooting for the Sixers. The Mavericks now lead at 38-26. Let's send it over to Craig Sager. Craig?
Marv, talking about the injury woes of the Philadelphia 76ers. Brian Skinner, who had that left ankle sprain, tried to go tonight. 4 minutes, just went back to the locker room. I talked to Dr. Jack MacCulloch. He does confirm that not only does he have an ankle sprain, but he also has a bone chip, and he is definitely out.
Gets worse and worse for the Sixers. Allen Iverson off the break. That's his second field goal. It is a 10-point Dallas lead.
Again, as Jeff said, their defense is the key to how they play, because their defense, and you see another one rejected, starts their offense. This is not a good shooting team the way Dallas is. Dallas is a terrific perimeter shooting team. Philadelphia is not, so they've got to get easy scores in transition.
Nowitzki now 6 of 8. He has 15 points. Mavericks just under 50% for the half. We have 6 minutes remaining first half. Dallas up by 12. And Snow cuts inside. A foul is called. It's on the Mavs. And Exel picks up his second. A timeout is called by the 76ers. Just under 6 remaining. in the first half. Dallas Mavericks have a 40-28 lead on the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, about an hour and a half before the start of tonight's game, Mavericks head coach Don Nelson had a conversation with Nick Van Exel. Let's take a listen.
Just play whatever game it is that you want to play, all right?
Yeah, I need to be aggressive.
All right, well, I think so too, but
right.
I didn't know if that, got you shooting bad percentage shots or, what if it did something, because your turnover assist ratio is terrific.
Just be aggressive.
I like when you move the ball too,
Right.
You just do whatever that you feel is right.
All right, sound good.
Well, Nick has been aggressive to the point a moment ago just picked up a technical foul. A bit aggressive verbally. And off that tee, he had collected his second personal foul, was upset with the call. Eric Snow will shoot the technical.
Nelly further validating our point that two all-star point guards, as he said, your assist to turnover ratio is outstanding. His is what it is. You have Nash with his the way it is. That's why you're best in the league at protecting the ball.
And that's why Don Nelson is such a good coach, too, is that players want to play for him because he gives them freedom. You heard him say, do what you want to do what you do best. Players appreciate that freedom, and he can live through some of their mistakes.
You also mentioned to me earlier today, Jeff, that you thought Don Nelson has been incredible in the way he has changed over the years, from how he was coaching way back when in the beginning to the way he has changed his philosophy and handling things as the years have gone on.
Exactly. Started off Milwaukee, hard-nosed defensive teams. Golden State run TMC with those small guys. That's where he developed his small ball theory. He did an underrated job with the Knicks. He was 34 and 25 before he left there. And then Dallas, he and Mark Cuban have really combined to form an unbelievable duo and really turned that around. And I'm surprised, frankly, Mike, that he has not been given a contract extension. This is his last year. He should be locked up long-term for the Dallas Mavericks.
Well, Mark Cuban, the owner, and we just saw Mark Cuban there sitting in the stands watching this game as Dirk Nowitzki missed the jumper. Mark Cuban said, look, I have no problems with Don Nelson. He said, my philosophy is that I do not do contract talks with any of my employees or any of my corporations during the course of the year. When the season ends, then we'll deal with Don Nelson's contract. That was his side of it.
But pro basketball is a different type of corporation, and you can come under some strange pressures as Bradley tips it in. You can come under some strange pressures when you are left as a lame-duck coach. And I think Nelly's handled himself admirably, never talks about it. I just think he's so good that they would want to make sure that he stays.
Originally, the thought was that he would step down as head coach after the season. Allen Iverson, and then turn the team over to his son, Donnie. And the elder Nelson will continue as general manager, but Don has obviously changed his mind. He would like to continue coaching. Why not when you look at this roster and the possibilities over these next couple of years?
He said today that he would like to coach 3 more years and then go back to being the GM or consultant or whatever role Mark Cuban is envisioned for him.
Mark Cuban will give him another contract, and that's not coming from Mark Cuban. That's just, my obvious feeling that this guy has done such a great job for the organization in rebuilding this Dallas franchise with the commitment that Mark Cuban has made to support him and let Nelly run the show the way it should be run, the way Nelly feels the right way. He knows he's got a terrific coach. He knows his team loves playing for him. They have a heck of a basketball team. He'll give him a new deal.
Coming up on 4 minutes remaining in the first half. Griffin. And MacCulloch deflects it out, not able to hold on. So they get the new shot clock, and there is Mark Cuban. And under Mark's ownership, this team has turned around. You see when he took over, 31 and 19 on to 53 and 29, 57 and 25, 32 and 8, best record in the NBA. Dirk Nowitzki continues the onslaught, 7 of 10, 17 points.
I've heard a lot of people say about Mark Cuban that he's just one of those lucky guys, that he's right place, right time. When things were, rocketing in the stock industries, that he happened to be one of those lucky guys that made his money at that time. But let me tell you what a bunch of other people have told me about him. They tell me he is a very, very bright guy. This guy is on a genius level almost. So I would
Wait, are you on the payroll here? What is going on?
I'm just mentioning that he's a bright guy.
That's embarrassing, Schilling. That is embarrassing.
There was no disputing that, but you've gone on for most of the second quarter.
So when you guys talk about
lay
suits
out
and referees, then it's okay.
But I agree with you, Czar, is that one thing you cannot question is the impact he's had on that organization. His passion and his passion for winning. And not everybody's committed to winning. He's committed to winning, and it's shown by the results.
Bradley gets inside. And I was wondering why the Czar...
And I think he's a genius.
I was wondering why he was exploring real estate in Dallas. Now I understand. Czar, should we keep him up on the screen a few more minutes?
I'm done.
Ernie Johnson in Atlanta's Studio A. It's that time again. The NBA.com question of the night. Log on to NBA.com or AOL keyword NBA.com. Who's going to win the 1-800-CALL-ATT shootout? There you see the possibilities. Brent Barry, Pat Garrity, and the rest. Oh, by the way, as I mentioned, you'll see that exclusively on TNT. Good.
All right, Ernie. And the defending champion is Peja Stojakovic of the Sacramento Kings. There are the contestants: Antoine Walker, Wesley Person, David Wesley, Pat Garrity, Brent Barry.
Wes Person's the winner. There he is. There's the winner. Wes Person will win the shootout if he's healthy. Remember now, he's been out for Memphis for the Grizzlies, so if he's healthy enough to participate in it. He was leading the NBA in three-point field goal percentage when he went out, shooting almost 51%.
Are you selecting Wes because you coached him with the Cavaliers? Is this a...
I don't believe I said that. I don't believe I said that.
I hope we don't have to listen to another couple minutes on Wesley Person and his career in Cleveland.
There's Antoine Rigaudot, who was born and raised in France, played professionally in France and Italy the past 16 years. A recent addition to the Dallas Mavericks. Had a very rough debut this past Sunday in Seattle. Had only 1 hour of practice and had his difficulties. So Rigaudot on the court.
Does he have the same kind of look that Dirk Nowitzki did during his first year?
Exactly. In fact, the Dallas coaching staff said he was lost the other day. And we're not talking about trying to find the arena. McKee is rejected. And it's kicked out of bounds. It'll be Dallas ball.
People may be wondering, why would Don Nelson bring this guy in at this, mid-season right now? Nelly's thinking is because Steve Nash plays at 100 miles an hour, because of the contact that he gets on the floor all the time, driving the ball to the basket, he'd like to take Nash off the ball. But because he's such a terrific shooter, Rigaudot can handle the ball, is a very good decision maker, very smart. So Nelly wants to go back to his point forward philosophy that he's used for so many years, used it in Milwaukee, as we know. Put the ball in Rigaudot's hands and now run Nash off of screens instead of the shooter coming off screens. That's what he's thinking long term.
Van Horn was called for the foul. Here is Roger Bell. And a blocking foul on Bell. Talking about Antoine Rigaudot for more on Rigaudot. Let's go to Craig.
Well, Marv, the report on Rigaudot is that he has NBA skills, makes big plays, takes big shots. The toughness was questioned. However, he was signed on January 17th in the first practice, which was on the 18th. He got into a battle with Raja Bell, the tough defensive player for Dallas. And in the end, Raja Bell came up with a bloody nose. And it was at that practice that he earned the respect of his teammates. The fact he was a 5-time French championship MVP really didn't matter much. When they saw his toughness, they were very impressed. He was discovered, of course, by Donnie Nelson, the assistant coach, who for 11 years coached the Lithuanian team and was very familiar with him. He was not drafted by any team in the NBA, but signed as a free agent at the age of 31.
All right, Craig, and Rigaudot playing in his third NBA game here tonight.
Okay, forget to mention to Raja Bell is that he also was the 3-time French boxing champion.
Yeah. Nowitzki. And it's handled by Salmon. Jeff, will you find find the czar particularly annoying tonight?
I think that little respite was good for me on that occasion. And that's a great play by Salmons, and MacCulloch again shows his great hands. Here they are. They're only down 8. They've already missed 6 free throws, so they could be right in this. They've just got to finish this quarter well as the foul was called.
Jack Neese with the call. It's on Salmons.
And Larry Brown trying to find the right guy to put on Nowitzki. Tells Salmons trying to deny him the basketball, so he guesses that the pass is going to come to the baseline side. I'd say he made a pretty good guess right there.
Yeah, Jack Neese is one of the great officials we have in the game, but I think he missed that one.
Here we go. Good play on the strip. It'll be Philadelphia ball. I think we have to have a recorded laugh track with us.
Remember what the word "but" means. Jack Neese is one of the great officials, but. But means everything I said prior to saying but, I didn't really mean.
Getting very deep on us here.
That's a bit of philosophy. That's a bad shot by Salmons. You force a turnover. You've got to get the ball moving. You don't need to take a contested jump shot right there.
Philadelphia, next foul puts them over the limit. Dallas is over. A minute remaining in the half. Mavericks up by 8. Finley. Rebounded by Buckner. Buckner skying for that ball. Dallas is led by as many as 18. Sixers have come back, although Iverson has been quiet. He has not been hitting the jumper. And that was the case last night in Detroit.
Iverson needs to score layups to shoot a higher percentage. They're keeping him out of the middle of the floor. This is where he's at his best. In transition, there's no one better finishing in transition than Allen Iverson.
And the defensive work of Salmons and Buckner have gotten Philadelphia back into it. They're within 6. We're down to 15 seconds remaining in the half. Down to 10. 5 seconds. Nash going to his left. Oh, what a beautiful shot by Steve Nash. A driving hook. And the 76ers want a timeout with 3.1 remaining in the half.
Steve Nash trying to run the clock down so that they wind up with the last shot of the quarter. Generally around 6 is when you make your move. You see him right there, just under 6 go to the left-handed fadeaway hook over Allen Iverson and over Todd MacCulloch, who's running over to try and get a piece of it.
And the bucket by Nash ended a 7-0 run by the 76ers. So the Mavericks now up by 8. See the stat line on Steve Nash. Dirk Nowitzki, the high man, with a 17. Sixers do not have anyone in double figures. 8 apiece for Iverson, Snow, and MacCulloch. Three and 1/10 seconds remaining in this first half. And McKee will put it in play. 76ers spread it out. Snow for 3. Good run by the 76ers, trailing by as many as 18. It's an 8-point game at the half. And Dirk Nowitzki, in his 20 minutes, hit 7 of 11, 17 points, 8 rebounds. Let's go to Craig and Dirk.
Dirk, you had the hot hand early. You guys opened up an 18-point lead, but it's down to just 8. Are you concerned?
Of course we're concerned. We got to protect the lead better. We stopped executing defensively. They got to a middle, had open shots, so we got to get back, be more solid defensively, and then run the ball. We should be in good shape.
You announced the All-Star starters tonight. You didn't make it. Steve Nash didn't make it. Michael Finley let you guys have 37 points. How important is that for you guys to make the All-Star team?
Oh, it would be huge. It's an honor to play in that game, but you know, there are a lot of great other players out there, especially in the West. So we knew it's going to be tough to get in there, but if we're in there, it's great. If not, we got different goals.
Well, great first half. I think you'll be there, Marv.
Yes, I have a feeling that Dirk will be in Atlanta, making the All-Star team for the second time in his 5-year career. Mavericks 48, And the 76ers 40 here at First Union Center in Philadelphia. Let's go to the studio. Join Ernie Johnson. Ernie?
Thank you, Marv. It's time for the Verizon Wireless Halftime Report. Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, and the most recent Laker to lead All-Star balloting until Kobe Bryant was today. It happened in 85-86 for Magic Johnson. Good to have you with us, and we'll be talking All-Stars in just a second, but let's talk about the first half of this game, which the Mavs lead by 8. An 18-point lead has been kind of whittled down. And I know the guard play has caught your eye, Jet.
Guard play, but first about Philadelphia. Their mainstay used to be defense. It's not anymore. That's their biggest problem. But going into being a guard, all right, everybody who's out there who's 6'2" or under like my size or 6'3", want to be in the NBA, this is what you need to do.
For the WNBA?
Yeah, whatever. But this is what you need to do. That was good. I set myself up.
Chuck.
But Steve Nash doesn't. He gets in the middle of the floor. If you can get here every single time, you can make the NBA. Now, on this time opportunity, he scores. But if you can get into the middle of the lane, you can be an NBA player. This is what makes great players. Right here, he gets there again, he scores again. Now, in the second half, they're probably going to converge on him, and he's going to find people and get out and get assists. So, getting in the middle of the floor, Steve Nash, that's why he's in the NBA.
He has 12 points in the
Avery
first
Johnson,
half.
same way, under 6 feet in the NBA. Does
one of the reasons Philadelphia struggled defensively in the past, they took a lot of chances. That's why Allen averaged a lot of steals, which doesn't mean you play great defense, but it gives you the chance to take more chances, and they can fumble everything to Mutombo. They don't have that. And even if Mutombo didn't block your shot, you knew where he was.
Right.
And now that's the worst thing ever happened to them defensively. Now they can't take chances. They got real small guards. You know, other than Allen Iverson, they're not that quick.
And before Mutombo was Ratliff.
But to me, too, not only Mutombo, but Tyrone Hill and George Lynch. See, I like having all three of them. Not only did they block shots, but they was tough.
Yeah, right.
See, you didn't want to go up against Philly because they were physical. George Lynch pushed you around. Hill pushed you around and smacked you in your face. Got the board, and they were gone. And I think they missed those guys who made them a physical, tough team besides Mutombo blocking the shots.
And we've said that. I've said that that's the number one problem I have with Dallas. Like, people in this league get so enamored with talent, they forget the guys who do all the dirty work. Because even if guys got talent, there's only one basketball, so those other guys just stand out there and look good. You got to have some dirty work players.
A guy like perhaps Ben Wallace, an all-star starter. We're going to talk about the all-star starters when we come back. And remember, we have another game still to come tonight on TNT as the New Jersey Nets on a 5-game trip lost the first 2 stops, going to try to get well in Golden State.
That's a team that to get well.
Well, it beat the Lakers last night. Oops. What
Everybody beats
the
Lakers.
Thanks a lot, guys.
The Halftime Report is brought to you by Verizon Wireless, the official
Verizon Wireless Halftime Report. Little NBA history in Nolans last night. MJ with that jumper, passing Wilt Chamberlain for 3rd on the all-time NBA scoring list. Stop the game. Give him the ball.
Give it back. Mike was worried about if it's going to get swapped out earlier.
Michael, however,
don't swap it out now. Make sure they don't swap it.
Not an all-star starter. By the way, we announced this exclusively to the world earlier tonight on Listen Up, the starters for the All-Star game.
Jason Kidd should have been a starter. No disrespect to the other 2 guys. Jason Kidd should have been a starter.
Over T-Mac and AI. Vince Carter is a starter. He may be able to play. He's going to wait clearance to see if after he meets with the doctors tomorrow. In the West, not many arguments there.
Yeah, there's one.
No, not many. I said, but you look at that
bottom line. All you need is 1 out of 5. You got 1 out of 5. That's a lot.
Drawing more votes than Shaquille O'Neal. You got a problem with that?
You know, I don't have a problem with it in terms of the fans, but I got a problem with it as far as who's the best player on the planet. And Shaquille O'Neal is the best player on the planet. But I think that he'll use this as motivation. I think that you'll see him come in. When he gets in, he's going to really try to destroy the East and prove a point to everybody. And Shaquille is good at that. So these things happen. I don't think that it's exciting that Yao Ming can come in and start in the NBA All-Star weekend. So it's not like it's a bad thing.
See, Chuck doesn't want the fans to vote.
Well, because it shouldn't be a popularity contest. The All-Star game, to me, and the same thing with the Pro Bowl in football, you're rewarding guys for having a great season. It shouldn't be. And it's really unfair. Hey, and I like Vince Carter. He's a good player. But for the fans to elect him the starter after only playing in 10 games, that's just wrong.
Well, that's what Vince Carter should do. Mike really plays small forward, back out, let Mike slide into the starting spot because he's really a small forward.
Wait a minute. The same thing that Tim Hardaway did for me. He did the same thing. Tim Hardaway.
And also, if you
very
remember
tough when you're catching heat like Vince Carter is for not playing.
So what,
say,
playing the All-Star game? If you remember, this has happened before. And Penny Hardaway sit out all the season, and then he played an All-Star game and never played for the rest of the season.
Hey, by the way, Charles, you know what? We have All-Star Weekend exclusively on TNT, beginning Friday, February 7th, all the way through the All-Star game on TNT.
Say exclusive again.
Exclusively on TNT.
The sights and sounds of the first half. Mavericks up by 8 as we head to the third quarter, leading by as many as 18, but the Sixers with an 11-2 run able to turn it back.
You know,
take your time, Czar.
You've liked it here so much in Philadelphia, Monday here, Thursday here, and I've noticed that one thing you've become very, very fond of are the pretzels.
They are excellent.
Pretzels here. So notice what my good friends at Doughboy made for you. A TNT pretzel. Very, very impressive. I also brought for you a little mustard.
Very nice.
So you can have this.
This will be put to very.
I know it will with you because you love your pretzels. So I really have nothing to say other than
that's it.
Enjoy. That's it. That's all I have to say. Do you have any observations?
I'm stunned by this, but I would say that what I like about Philadelphia is even though they got out-rebounded by 6, missed 6 free throws, they're in the game. And what they need to do, and Larry Brown told us this before the game, that if they can win the battle of points off turnovers, they can win the game. In the second part of the second quarter, they got into that. They forced more turnovers, and they got out in transition. That's how they're going to win the game.
All right, a look at our Jeep game summary. Dallas at 44% shooting, 20 out of 46. The 76ers 43% after the bad start, 15 for 35. As you can see, the Sixers going to the line, 16 trips to the foul line, and Dallas 13 fast break points. High point man is Dirk Nowitzki with 17. Steve Nash has 12.
You know, it's possible I could have had that upside down, but it's very hard to tell. TNT upside down.
And I know you also do the color commentary for the Miami Heat. That might have worked better on a Miami Heat telecast. Watch, this was very funny. Oh, the Czar tonight is out of control, Jeff.
It's the 2 games in a week that has made it difficult on him to remain focused.
Nice job, nice read by Philly. They saw the switch and get the fast break layup again. Defensive steal leading to a fast break score. That's how Philadelphia best scores points. Easy baskets.
Well, the Sixers are within 6. And here's Nash. His shot deflected short by Van Horn. Iverson met by Bell. And now Nash switching off to Iverson. Iverson will it count? Yes, it does. And the blocking foul called on Nash.
Iverson gets Nash in a situation where he's got him backing up. Nash takes a shot, figures he's going to cross over and go from right to left, make his move, tries to get there, but you can see his feet are still moving. The shot continuation counts. There's the foul, no more dribbles, continuation, and good. Allen
Iverson 1 for 5 from the field in the first quarter. Since then, he's hit 4 of 5. He now has 10 points. Let's go over to Craig.
Well, Mark Jeffers mentioned the difference between Philadelphia in the first and second quarters. It was that 1 for 5 in the first quarter. Larry Brown said it was a difference. Allen was taking quick shots in the second quarter. He was very good by working the ball in and then out, and he was 3 for 4. Also, the difference defensively, Coach Brown, was John Sammons. He said he was terrific. He told Sammons he'll get a lot of playing time here in the second half, and he wants the game to be in the 80s. The Mavs already have 50, so it's clamped down the defense if Philadelphia's going to win. Mark.
And that was a career-high 6 assists for John Sammons, the rookie from Miami. Basket will not count. Foul before that shot.
Marv, every Philadelphia game that I see, they get that play, give and go. Snow to Iverson, back to Snow at least once. They got it early in the game, drew a foul, they drew another foul here. Snow is a very good cutter. Iverson hits him at least once a game.
Foul on Nash, that's 3. Here's Iverson to the crossover. The 76ers are within 3. Finley being played by McKee. Finley, yes. Michael Finley with a nice turnaround. He has 12.
That's not an easy shot right there. They got Finley the ball where they wanted him. He just elevated, shot over the top of McKee.
52-47, Dallas. Van Horn with the head fake. Rejected by Bradley. And a foul as Bradley is taken down. That's 4 block shots for Sean Bradley, the one-time 76er. MacCulloch called on the foul.
And that's the value of Bradley. Van Horn had beaten Nowitzki off the post up. Bradley pins the ball against the board. Great block. He makes up for so many mistakes defensively by his teammates.
You know, with Philadelphia hurting the way they are, all these guys out, Nash elevates and hits that 20-foot jumper. I know there's a second half to go, but Keith Van Horn has to really assert himself a little bit more. He got only 4 shot attempts there in the first half, 2 for 4 from the floor, 6 points. He's got to command the ball a little bit more. They have to look to get it to him a little bit more. It just can't be Allen Iverson doing it.
And again, I'm going to say once again, as Nowitzki takes the spot up 3 in transition, that Van Horn, when he has Finley guarding him, should not be living around the 3-point line. He should be in the post. Get it inside. Maybe get to the free throw line. Draw fouls.
Nowitzki now 20 points, 10 rebounds. Rafe LaFrentz has come on, replacing Sean Bradley. Iverson, and he'll head to the line. Allen Iverson so active here in the third quarter. Foul on Bell, his 3rd. Mavericks back to a 10-point lead. 76ers go with MacCulloch, Van Horn, and McKee up front. Iverson and Snow in the backcourt. They've been able to dress only 9 men for tonight's game. Brian Skinner was a question mark, did play in the first half, played 4 minutes, but re-injured his thigh. He is out. Kenny Thomas out with a thigh injury. Derek Coleman out with a finger problem. 57-49, Dallas. Finley stripped from behind by McKee. Last touch by the Sixers.
That ball may have gone off his leg on the way out as McKee kind of reached around and grabbed it. It may have gone off Finley's leg. Well, from that angle with Van Horn blocking us out, it's really tough to tell. Then again, it may not have gone off his leg.
No. Off McKee.
Okay. If you're that clear on it, you should have said it right away.
I was waiting for you to commit yourself. And an offensive foul. So the ball back to the Mavericks. Foul on MacCulloch, that's his 3rd.
Well, Ray from the friends out on the floor right now talking to Don Nelson today. A guy who received little motivational speech from the head coach, and has kind of taken it to heart and gone in now and puts extra work in before practice, after practice. Nelly not real happy as we see Dirk Nowitzki off the dribble, take it to the basket. The friends, Nelly felt was coasting a little bit too much, got the message across to him, and he came back today and said this guy really took it to heart and has worked extra hard over the last couple of weeks and responded.
Iverson with a fadeaway. So the Sixers down by 10. Dallas had an 11-2 run after the Sixers were able to cut into that lead. Nash with a rainbow. Snow not able to control. And it will be Philadelphia ball. Allen Iverson has scored the last 9 points for the Sixers, has 17 for the night.
Back to the first half, what Jeff mentioned about guys' egos, and you also mentioned more about having too many players on your team. Think about this. If you're Rafe LaFrentz, you just signed a $70 million contract, you got 4 minutes in the first half of the game. That could be a problem.
And there are several guys in that category. As MacCulloch is fouled, he'll head to the line. Nick Van Exel played only 7 minutes, although he picked up a couple of fouls and also was charged with a technical foul. And as we mentioned earlier, what happens when Eduardo Najera comes back? He was getting major minutes earlier in the season.
And Najera's energy level and commitment to the defensive end of the floor was why he was on the floor. And Nelly made the point today, their zone defense has gotten worse since Najera has been out. He made it work with his communication, his intensity, and his effort sideline to sideline.
There's no question, when he was healthy and playing for them, people were actually talking about not only the offense of Dallas, but talking about Dallas's new defensive commitment.
That turned out to be a cameo for Rafe LaFrentz. Sean Bradley is back on the floor. So LaFrentz sitting down. Sean, who was selected by the Sixers in the first round, the second pick overall back in 1993, then went on to New Jersey and then traded to Dallas. Here's Bradley, who's played very well tonight. That's 8 points, along with 9 rebounds and 4 blocked shots. Sean Bradley was playing exceptionally well at the start of the season and then went into a low period. And he's come up big here tonight. MacCulloch, rebounded by Nowitzki. Nowitzki from way downtown. Now McKee pushing it. It's a 4-on-2. Iverson rejected by Bradley. 76ers will put it in play. They have 16 on the shot clock. But first, a timeout is taken by Larry Brown. 6:17 to go in the third. Dallas is led by as many as 18. They're now up by 10. 76ers able to cut it down to a 3-point deficit on 2 occasions in this third quarter. It's now Dallas by 10, but Allen Iverson's had the hot hand. At one stretch, he had 9 straight points.
Iverson 3 for 4 thus far. We see the little floater and 1 after the ball goes in. Then the reverse in the lane, in between the big people. Iverson once again able to step through, make his way, then get the guy rock back, step back, and hit the jumper from the top of the circle. So Iverson right now with 17 points. There's the shot. We see a little very even distribution. Left side, right side, center of the floor. Makes coming in the closest area to the basket. The closer he gets, the better he is.
And I think the quality of shots he's taken of his 13 have been very high, particularly after the first quarter.
Nowitzki knocking it away from the key. Recovered though by Snow. And they will reset. Just under 6 minutes remaining in the third. And an offensive foul charged to Iverson. That's his second personal.
Dallas back in his zone right now. Bell trying to keep Iverson out of the middle of the floor. You see Bell get there and very close, whether he was down, planted when the contact took place, but in the official's mind, he was there, had the position, called the offensive foul.
Nash and Finley at the guards. Bell is up front with Nowitzki and Bradley. Buckner with the steal. Here comes McKee. And Horn looking to tip it, called for the offensive interference.
I really like this team Philly has on the floor. I think Buckner defends everybody from twos, threes, and fours very well. He's a steal guy. He's going to create some turnovers like he just did, and that's what they need to cut down on this lead, even though they missed that layup in transition.
The Dallas Mavericks with a record of 32-8. That's the best record in the NBA. They have lost 3 of the last 4. They come off a victory in Dallas on Tuesday. They beat Houston, but they've dropped 3 straight on the road. Van Horn, yes. He thought he was fouled.
Buckner set a little screen as he was cutting down the lane. He stopped suddenly and screened the big man, which allowed, Van Horn to turn into the lane and get the look at the basket.
Don Nelson taking a timeout with 4:51 remaining in the third. It is now an 8-point Dallas lead.
There's the post. Watch the screen take place now. Buckner screens off the big man. Room for the jump shot. It's good.
Welcome back to Philadelphia. Marv Albert with the Czar, Mike Fratello, Jeff Van Gundy, Craig Sager. Dallas with an 8-point lead. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Well, 4 lucky Sixer fans are seated on the TNT fan bench. Winners, oh, that's comfortable.
Those
too.
are official fan bench seats right there.
Winners randomly selected by the Sixers front office. The only way to watch the NBA on Thursdays is if tickets are on TNT. They look so comfortable.
What's in the bag, the blue bags? I want to know what's in the blue bags.
Why don't you run over there and try to check it out?
Those kids are going to get heckled at school tomorrow for sitting in those seats right there. Those do not look normal.
Let's check out the results of this week's NBA.com fan poll. The question, who will win the 1-800-CALL AT&T shootout? And the defending champ, Peja Stojakovic, the favorite, followed by Antoine Walker. Your man, Wesley Person, receiving 8% of the votes.
Well, obviously they realized that Wesley's hurt. Antoine Walker's hurt now. We saw him get hurt here the other night.
Michael Finley.
I think Brent Barry is underrated in that, Marv. I think he's got the type of shot, that set shot, that can withstand multiple rounds.
Is it underhand?
What am I going to...
You had nothing to say, did you?
Brent Barry several years back did win the slam dunk competition. Here's Van Horn. So is that a shot at his father, Rick, who was one of the great players of all time, one of the outstanding free throw shooters with the underhand style. I mean, you did it in poking fashion, and he has a radio show, as you know, out in the Bay Area, and he will kill you on a regular basis.
That's rather strong, isn't it? And I was not poking fun. I was honoring him because he was such a great shooter from the foul line with the two-handed underhand delivery.
Incidentally, there's still time to vote. You can log on to NBA.com. Walt Williams has checked back in, forcing that shot. Iverson diving for it. Beautiful save, but then it's thrown away. Buckner's pass off the mark. Another look at the scramble as Williams and Iverson vie for that loose ball.
Looked like Iverson had twice as far to go, yet got there before Williams did.
Nowitzki being played by Van Horn. Roger Bell with a rare shot. Here comes Snow. Nash back. He thought he had Iverson, but it was Bell. Trusting the peripheral vision.
It was Iverson until Bell turned up the speed a little bit more and got in the passing lane.
And Van Horn deflects it aside. 7 on the shot clock. And John Salmons, the rookie from Miami, who played very well in the first half. Career high 6 assists. Has checked in, replacing Aaron McKee. Nowitzki, what a difficult shot.
That really was a hard shot. I mean, he just had a little bit of space to turn in, face up, get the ball back over his head and release it.
11 of 16, 26 points for Dirk Nowitzki, who, as I mentioned earlier, was not shooting well on the earlier portion of this road trip. They did go home for one game. Van Horn with a good second effort.
And that's what Philly wants to see from Van Horn. Come into the post, get it, take it strong to the hoop, and if you miss, go right back up, finish it strong. Very good play by Van Horn.
You know, when you got a guy who's hot at the offensive end of the floor, one thing to do to try and cool him off is put a couple of fouls on him, put him on the bench, so go right back at the guy who's been hurting you. Here we see Van Horn put it on the floor, elevate, and then once he misses the easy one on the inside, he's right back up there again with the offensive rebound and the second shot opportunity.
And a holding foul on Van Horn. Van Horn with 12 points, including the Sixers' last 6. Nick Van Exel has returned. Foul is called on Van Horn, and that is number 4.
And right now, I think that they have to make a move, Philly does, to get Van Horn off of Nowitzki, put him on Raja Bell, and get Buckner on Nowitzki to try to keep him out of further foul trouble.
Sixers with their 4th team foul. Dallas has got a free throw since the first quarter, and Nowitzki gets the hop. A spectacular game for Dirk Nowitzki. 28 points, and the Mavericks lead by 10. Dirk has hit 5 of 6 from the field in this third quarter. Iverson for 3. Buckner with a beautiful save. Here is Snow. Nowitzki with the rebound. Lost it. Buckner rejected by Nowitzki. And Van Exel is held. He's fouled by Buckner, preventing the fast break.
Some real toughness there displayed by both players. Buckner going in there, sticking his nose and swiping the ball from Nowitzki. And Nowitzki, rather than putting his head down, goes right back up and rejects the shot.
So the Mavericks to the foul line for the first time since back in the first quarter. Nick Van Exel will shoot a couple. Nick acquired from the Nuggets midseason last year. He spent 5 years with the Lakers, 3.5 years with Denver. In his 10th NBA season out of the University of Cincinnati.
Right now, Philly may have the smallest team the 76ers have ever put on the floor at any one time. Aaron McKee and John Salmons at 6'5" and 6'6" are their biggest players.
Iverson challenging Nowitzki. So the Mavericks up by 10. Dallas gets it down in a hurry. Michael Finley off the break.
That should never happen, where after you score a basket that way, that the defense doesn't retreat far enough that they can come in bounds, 2 passes, in, up, and score a layup.
The only big man on the floor is Dirk Nowitzki, and he's guarding John Salmons. Salmons with a nice move, but it would not fall. Here's Nash for 3. Rebounded by McKee. Nice play. Snow off the beautiful lead pass.
Small ball for Philly. They're out and running.
And I love Philadelphia's resilience. They are a tough group. They need to play with this type of energy and passion on a nightly basis because they don't have that number of offensive weapons. They've got to be able to rely on their defense.
Van Exel for 3. Nick Van Exel from downtown, extending the Dallas lead to 13.
They actually did a good job with double teaming the post, rotating, covering for each other. The ball got to the far corner. That was just a tough shot.
Buckner has played very well. He's done it at both ends. 6 points for Buckner, who is noted as a defensive specialist. Originally a second-round pick of Dallas, played 3 years with the Mavericks. We're down to 20 seconds. 10 on the shot clock. Last touch by the Sixers. Mavericks up by 11. Finley will throw in. And last touch by the 76ers.
They're trying to get this in, and they're trying to reverse the ball over to Nowitzki's side of the floor. Now with just 7 seconds remaining, they may have to get out of the play that Don Nelson was trying to get him into when they had a little more time left.
7 on the 24. Here's Nash for 3. Yes! Steve Nash from straight away from beyond the three-point line. Final seconds of the third quarter. Iverson puts the move on Bell. Iverson draws the foul.
On consecutive plays, Philly has defended very well. Van Exel made a corner jumper here. As the clock's winding down, Sammons does a good job, keeps Nash in front of him, contests the shot, but the shot was better than the defense. 2 dagger-type threes to end the quarter for Dallas.
17 points for Nash. Allen Iverson has turned it after the slow start. He's hit 7 of his last 10 shots. 3.3 remaining in the third quarter. Mavericks up by 12. Van Exel did not get it off in time. After 3 here in Philadelphia. It's the Dallas Mavericks 79 and the Philadelphia 76ers 67. 21 points now for Allen Iverson. Started out 1 for 5, and he has certainly turned it around since then. Dirk Nowitzki, the high point man for the Mavs, with 28. On a chilly night, back in the city of brotherly love, a look at 30th Street Station downtown. We welcome you back as we head to the fourth quarter. Marv Albert, Lazar, Mike Fratello, Jeff Van Gundy, Craig Sager. Dallas Mavericks have led by as many as 18. They now lead by 12.
Let's take a look how Philly runs their fast break in transition. Nice job that Aaron McKee does in not only playing offense, but starts out with defense. You'll see McKee, hold it right there. McKee is the man that had just closed out on the shooter, Nash. Right after he's done with that, you will now see him go to the glass and secure the rebound. Sticks his nose back in there, comes up with a huge rebound. Now they get out and run the fast break. Let's stop it right there. As they're running the fast break, the first thing they're looking for are people filling the lanes on both sides, and then the man with the ball, dribble penetration to the middle of the floor, and you're trying to catch the defensive man, who happens to be Steve Nash, back and force him to make a decision. McKee does a good job advancing it with the pass. Next pass across the floor, easy score for the Sixers.
Mavericks outscoring the Sixers 31-27 in the third. They shot well, 13 of 21 at 62% from the field. Van Exel and Nash now in the backcourt together with Nowitzki, Finley, and Bell up front. Here's Van Exel trying to reverse it. Finley saves the pass. Shot clock down to 5. Nowitzki kept alive by Nash. Nowitzki for 3. And Snow with the rebound. Look out. Able to elude Van Exel. McKee for 3. Setting it up. Here's Finley on the post-up against Iverson. Buckner over to help. Van Exel is open for 3. Yes, that's his second from downtown. Beautiful ball movement.
Remember Don Nelson talking to him prior to the game, telling him to be aggressive. I love your assist-turnover ratio. I don't want to take away your effectiveness at the offensive end of the floor. Just be an aggressive offensive player.
Quite a bit of trade speculation concerning Nick Van Exel. Nice play by Nash. Nick coming off the bench says he is very happy with this Dallas team. He does not want to go anywhere, although he is not getting the minutes. And at this point, he is in the backcourt along with the starting point, Steve Nash. Here's Finley for 3. A three-point barrage by the Mavericks. Their last 4 field goals have been from downtown.
Number 2 in the league in three-point field goal attempts, and number 2 in the league in three-point field goals made night in and night out. Dallas Mavericks, Finley with the 3.
Here's tonight's Bud Light headlines as we look back at what took place last night. The Golden State Warriors defeating the Los Angeles Lakers after Shaquille O'Neal fouled out. The 5'5" Earl Boykins took over. 5 points, the final 38 seconds to help his club to the win. How about the Clippers ending a 31-game losing streak in Salt Lake City? The last time Clippers beat the Jazz in Utah, Elton Brand was 9 years old. Andre Miller was 13. And the game was played in a building that does not even exist anymore. And Michael Jordan with 18 points last night, surpassing Wilt Chamberlain as the NBA's 3rd all-time scorer. Wizards lost to the Hornets 103-94.
Let me ask you a question. Washington, 21-21, 500 record. They're in the playoffs right now. Toronto, 10-33. Who has contributed more to his team, Michael Jordan or Vince Carter this season? Let me ask you a question.
Michael Jordan.
Then why isn't he starting in the All-Star game?
Because it's one of the liberties given to the fans of the NBA to pick who they want to see. Now, I think there should be some split, like the fans get an X percentage and the coaches and the NBA get X percentage, and then you work it around in some formula and the starters are picked that way. Don't just give it to the fans.
85-69. Mavericks with the lead. I think one understands that there's a fan vote involved here as Van Exel hits another 3. That's his 3rd of the night. You understand there's a fan vote? And you're making it seem like there's some kind of a debate. It was set up as a fan vote.
I understand that. I thought my way of doing it was very simple, though. I had a good explanation, I thought, and it was very clear to me.
Well, you could go down a number of positions and say, every year you could say that. So you don't want a fan vote.
I think the fans obviously should be represented, just as Jeff said, they should be represented. How much they should be represented is open for discussion.
I can't believe the fans didn't pick Jordan, though. I mean, when was his popularity on the decline so much that he would lose out to players not even playing?
And the foul is called. It is a mystery to me that Vince Carter could win the vote under these conditions from the fans. I don't know if he'd win the vote in Toronto if it were just Toronto fans voting.
Are there that many Carolina alumni out there that voting?
And then the other one that is baffling is how Shaquille O'Neal, the most dominant player in the NBA over the last however long you want to consider him dominant, isn't in the starting lineup for the West.
You know what? I just thought of it. Maybe the voting should be done in a booth. You have to show up at a booth and go into the booth and cast a vote that way. So you just can't sit at home and vote on a computer.
That could be a little bit of a quagmire when you think about the worldwide impact the NBA has to have worldwide ballot booths.
Of course, they have tried that, and it did not work out in the state of Florida. So I don't know if that would carry through in the NBA. Van Horn got the step, and a foul is called. Remember many years ago when the ballot box was stuffed in favor of the Cincinnati Reds for the baseball All-Star game, and the commissioner stepped in and he changed some of the positional voting. He did not allow it. Otherwise, 7 Cincinnati Reds would have been voted to the National League team. I mean, it can get to that extent. I mean, you can stuff it and have some ridiculous picks.
Well, as we all know, various franchises run parties at night where they have a place, a designated place. People show up, they have food and beverage for them, and they do nothing but fill out these ballots and keep putting them in the box, to try and get the respective players on the team.
Bizarre with a revelation. Did one of your teams do that?
We would not resort to that. However, another person sitting very close to me may have been responsible for some of that.
Are you talking about our statistician, Paul Evans?
No, not Paul.
Salmons is fouled. 4 minutes gone by here in the fourth. And the Mavericks pulling away. They now lead by 19 points. So John Salmons to the line. Coming up next here on TNT, it's game 2 of our exclusive NBA coverage as the Nets will take on the Golden State Warriors tomorrow on ESPN2, a doubleheader with the Wizards and the Bulls, Nets and the Lakers. And next Thursday, back here on TNT, it'll be Dallas hosting Minnesota, followed by the Sonics and the Kings. It all gets underway 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Well, the 76er organization spending a little time right now hustling around trying to get a look, and there's Billy King. Billy will be taking the trip very soon to go down and take a look at Stanley Roberts, who was reinstated by the NBA. And actually, the 76ers still retain his rights. They have X number of days, whatever it is, 30 days to tender him an offer. So he's down in Houston right now, losing weight, working out. And you know, Larry Brown basically has taken Stanley Roberts a lot of places that Larry's been with him.
And right now, obviously, with the Sixers hurting on the front line with injuries, Stanley Roberts, his signing could become more probable. And Stanley Roberts, when he was in the league, was an offensive force in the low post. If you threw it to him, he had good agility, powered the ball to the basket. He can play offensive basketball. Whether he's in good enough shape and healthy enough after this long off, I don't know.
Why don't you refresh our viewers' memories about who Stanley Roberts played with way back and who his teammate was at one point in his career?
Well, at LSU, and Sports Illustrated just did a great article on the relationship between Stanley Roberts and Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal said in that article that Stanley Roberts was his hero, in that Stanley Roberts taught him so much about what was going to be necessary to be successful in basketball, and that must have been quite a battle in practice.
And when they were teammates at LSU, as Nash finds Van Exel in the corner for another three. Nick Van Exel on fire. 4 of 5 from downtown. At one point, the skill level was pretty close between Stanley Roberts and Shaquille O'Neal. That's back in their college days. And Roberts did have some flashes in the NBA, but obviously weight problems. And that is always going to be the problem. That's why Larry Brown said they're checking him out. The last 6 field goals by the Dallas Mavericks have been from downtown.
You know, it's interesting that Don Nelson today, in talking to us, that those of us that went to shoot around today, Jeff, Don Nelson mentioning to us that after Van Exel came back from the knee surgery, he played great for about 2 weeks. And then since that time, he said, this guy's just struggled to make shots. He just cannot make a shot. And now tonight we see him come out here and he's torching it from behind the three-point line.
And when he was at Denver and in LA, he was a go-to type offensive player. This is not new for him to be a focal point of the offense. He's their 4th leading scorer. He can score the ball.
It recovered by McKee. Here's McKee. It's a 16-point Dallas lead. They've led by as many as 21. At one stretch, had an 18-point bulge in the first half. 76ers with a couple of good runs came within 3. And the foul is called. It is on McKee. Correction, it's on Buckner. That's number 3 on Buckner. The Dallas Mavericks coming into tonight lost 3 of their last 4, 32-8, best record in the NBA, and they are 8-1 on the road against teams from the Eastern Conference. They're in a stretch playing 6 of 7 on the road. Tomorrow night they'll face the Knicks in New York. Nash is fouled. And then Sunday afternoon back home for the Portland Trailblazers. Foul on Buckner. head coach, general manager. Don Nelson in his 5th year as the head coach of Dallas. 25th season as an NBA head coach. Reminder, you can visit NBA.com or Valpak.com to register for a chance to win a trip to the 2004 NBA All-Star Game.
We're planning ahead. 2004.
6 minutes remaining in the 4th. Iverson shot blocked. Buckner there on the follow.
And even though Philly's down 16, Mark, I like the effort that Philly's put forth in this game. I think they're working hard, they're playing hard. They've just hit a tough opponent who's shooting the 3 very well, but their effort level cannot be questioned tonight.
Yes, Dallas 10 of 19 now beyond that 3-point line. Here's Nash. It's been a spectacular night for Steve Nash. 21 points, 12 assists, and he's turned it over only once.
Remember, Don Nelson saying he'd like to see the back door by Allen Iverson for the nice pass from Van Horn. Keep Nash around 32 minutes. Well, he's at 35 already in this game, but he's playing so well.
And the combination of Nash and Van Exel, with both guys having the hot hand, has worked very well. Walt Williams took 3. So Williams with his second 3 of the night. And Dallas for the game at 50%. Iverson in a collision with Bell. Here's Buckner. Van Horn. Mavericks 100 and the 76ers 83 as we come up on 4.5 remaining in the game. Nash with the step and the reverse. Crowd has been filing out since early in the 4th. Van Horn for 3. The 3-point barrage by the Mavericks, sending folks to the exits.
Philly's just got to stay with it. This game is not over. They're only down 14. Obviously, they're going to have to stop Dallas on a number of possessions in a row, but it can't be done. They've just got to stay with it.
And Exel, well, not able to get the stop right there, make it a 16-point lead, and now the Sixers take a timeout.
Nick Van Exel for his career, 35% 3-point shooter. In the playoffs, 35% 3-point shooter. This season, 36% 3-point shooter. Very consistent. 4 out of 5 tonight. We see 3 straight threes by Nick Van Exel, 2 of them with the clock running down.
Ernie Johnson in Atlanta's Studio A. Remember, still another game to go here on our TNT doubleheader. Richard Jefferson and the New Jersey Nets playing in Golden State and trying to snap their little 2-game losing streak. Part of a 5-game trip. Now a live look at the Pyramid in Memphis. And how about the Grizzlies? Clinging to a lead over the Sacramento Kings. It is 84-83 after that Jim Jackson bucket there for Sacramento. But the Grizzlies of Hubie Brown coming off last night's win over the San Antonio Spurs after losing 21 straight to San Antonio, have lost the last 6 in this series against Sacramento, but they lead by 1. Now let's go back to Philly and Marv in the game.
All right, thanks, Ernie. 3 minutes, 4 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter, and the Mavericks up by 16.
Just in case Ernie doesn't know, the gang is Jeff and Mike. Ernie, in case you don't know who the gang is.
And Craig.
Craig is part of the gang.
What do you take it personally? Just
that's Ernie. He does that.
Going, trying to shorten the sentence. Kenny Satterfield, second-year man from Cincinnati, has come on for the first time. He's been out with the flu in recent games. On the court for the Sixers. Rigaud just checked back in. Antoine Rigaud 31-year-old NBA rookie by way of France. Played professionally in France and Italy for 16 seasons. And Horn could not take advantage of the overplay. And here's it from the crowd.
Mentioned Rigaud. Rigaud feeling a little lonely over here since he's come over, missing his family. He got excited when he heard the news yesterday, I guess, that his 2 sons will be coming over to join him. So kind of perked up a little bit, Don Nelson said.
And a holding foul. Foul on Rigaud. With 1:54 remaining in this fourth quarter. Timeout taken. Mavericks 102, Sixers 86.
The Dallas Mavericks less than 2 minutes away from extending the league's best record of 33-8. I'm with owner Mark Cuban. You have to talk about this team in big terms. What are your plans? How far are they going to go this year?
Well, I never make predictions, but our season goal is to continue to get better every game. And then you see what happens at the end of the year. Making predictions in this league is crazy.
Despite that best record, Jeff Van Gundy at the beginning of the show mentioned 2 costly losses. The one against the Lakers when you're up 28, the one at Sacramento when you lost by 29. What doubts have that put in this team and in you?
No more doubts than New Jersey had after they fell down by 25 and then came back and swept the Celtics 3 in a row and then went to the finals. Those things happened in the NBA, but they're a learning experience. Our biggest problem was we were hitting a crescendo too early. There was so much excitement and so much going well for us. We had to go find a base and work from it. So I found a lot more positives than negatives in those losses.
Well, that's your comeback for Jeff Van Gundy. Now for Mike Fratello. He says it's ridiculous that you don't extend the contract of Don Nelson. Why?
Because it's the way I've always done business. When someone has a contract, I'll play it all out. And, whether you're the janitor, whether you're the receptionist, the sales manager, or the coach, I treat it all the same. The fact that I treat everybody the same is what's worked best for me over the last 20-some years.
Well, if you don't think basketball is different, do you plan to extend his contract?
Well, again, I'm not going to, I'm just treated like any other contract. And, people thought I was crazy when I did things the way I did things in all my other businesses when I got here. But, and I didn't change, and this is nothing, it's not an exception.
Some people still think you're crazy, but they like you and you're doing a great job.
Well, that's because they're right.
All right, thanks, Craig. Mark Cuban, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, his team with a 102-88 lead on the Philadelphia 76ers. Here is Aaron McKee. Down to 1:20 remaining in this fourth quarter. Dirk Nowitzki, the high point man, with 30 on 12 of 19 from the field and 14 rebounds. The big 3 has come up huge tonight. Steve Nash, 21 points, 8 for 20, 13 assists. Michael Finley, 8 of 13, 19 points. How about Nick Van Exel, 21 points in 21 minutes, 4 of 5 from downtown. And Sean Bradley had an outstanding game, 8 points, 9 rebounds, 5 block shots.
And they're going to have a tough game tomorrow in New York. I think New York coming in rested, a little bit like we saw Philly. If Dallas comes out flat tomorrow, New York, having won 3 in a row, is going to jump right on them.
And we'll see these Dallas Mavericks at home next Thursday. We'll be there to bring it to you as they take on Kevin Garnett and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Here is Williams for 3. Yes! Another three-pointer for the Mavs. 12 of 22 from downtown. And Horn able to handle that lob. So just under a minute remaining in the game. The Mavericks will go to 33-8. And 2 straight wins after the 3 straight road defeats.
Think back a couple seconds ago, the crowd was booing Van Horn. You look at his numbers, you get backdoor by Williams for the layup. Van Horn's got 25 points tonight. Not a bad night, it's just that he's missed a couple real easy shots on the inside.
19 of his 25 in the second half. The 76ers will drop to 22 and 21. They come off the win last night in Detroit. That's Satterfield. Kenny Satterfield getting a couple of minutes here in the fourth quarter. The 76ers are in a stretch, playing 8 of 10 games at home. Saturday afternoon they play at Miami. Then next Tuesday they'll visit the Bucks in Milwaukee. As time is running out, Avery Johnson just dribbles out the clock. So the final score, the Mavericks 107 and the 76ers 94. Dallas also ends the road losing streak. They've dropped 3 in a row, but they have won 14 of 20 on the road. Strong performance. Philadelphia 76ers, on the other hand, an injury-hit team. Dallas firing away from beyond that three-point line. 8 of their last 10 field goals were from downtown. Let's go to Craig with Steve Nash.
Well, Steve, a tremendous game, 21 points, 13 assists. We always talk about a matchup with Allen Iverson. You had him on his heels all night. What did you do against him? What were you trying to do?
Well, I really didn't match up with him that much. Roger did a great job on him defensively, and Allen didn't guard me that much either, so it was really not a one-on-one matchup. But, you know, Allen's a tremendous player, and tonight we just had a better team.
Your record now goes to 33-8. We mentioned some of the doubts, maybe of those losses against the Lakers in Sacramento. How did that affect the team, and how has it?
Well, if anything, I think it's motivated us. You know, I think this is a team that isn't scared of anybody and isn't a team that's going to fold because we lost a couple of games. You know, last year we had a lot of success against Sacramento and ended up losing in the playoffs. So we realized, you know, the regular season isn't the be-all and end-all. We just have to keep progressing.
Everybody looks at the standings. I know as a player it's a little bit different than a fan. But you guys could be fighting all season, get the #1 spot. The Lakers could sneak in at the 8th spot, and you have to beat them in a 5-game series. Does that scare you?
So be it. You know, I think you might as well play the defending champs in the first round. You're going to have to beat them, or someone's going to have to beat them sometime. So, you know, however they come, we just want to be ready. We want to be better defensively, better offensively. So when the playoffs come, we're at top form, not now.
Right now, that spot's owned by Minnesota. You take them on next Thursday. We'll see you there.
Thank you. Craig.
Mark?
All right, thanks, Craig. So the Mavericks make it a sweep of the 2-game series over the 76ers. Again, the final, Mavericks 107, and the Sixers 94. Coming up, game 2 of our doubleheader with exclusive coverage of the New Jersey Nets and the Golden State Warriors. For the Czar, Mike Fratello, Jeff Van Gundy, Craig Sager. This is Marv Albert saying goodnight from the First Union Center. You've been watching TNT, the exclusive home of the 2003 NBA All-Star Game. We'll take a short break, and then it's back to the studio for Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, and Magic Johnson for a game break presented by Southwest Airlines.